Welcome and thanks for stopping by. I'm Robin and I'm a dude who lost a bunch of weight. I'm not a doctor, and if you think I'm a doctor, please go see a doctor. Well, everyone has a history of working out and working on their health and everything, so I'd like to share a little bit more on how I started to work out to where I am now. So this will be my history with working out. The road to working out. What are these bumps on the road? And high school was just fun, wasn't it? I think all those classes in high school basically ruined working out for me for a very long time. Because they were kind of pushing you to like run and do all these weird athletic things I couldn't do because I was a chubby kid. So eventually you'll just have a weird relationship with everything because you just hate it. So you had all these activities you kind of hated already and you just had to do them because they were required. But they weren't teaching you about like long-term health or why the hell are you doing this at all. And at a certain point in the last years of high school, they started these activities where a couple of times a year you would have, like once a week, you would go outside of the school to do certain activities. And me and my friends, we chose spinning classes. Why? I have no idea. But it made me set my first step into a gym because it was set in a gym that was close by school. So I really did not enjoy spinning at all, but I did kind of like the gym. So after the spinning I actually joined the gym, but the person there took my measurements and everything and kind of scared me into working out. But this guy was just genuinely worried because I was just a big guy and I was still young, and I guess what he was trying to do was kind of scare me into it, like, you really have to start taking this stuff seriously, dude. But that didn't click for me at all at the time. But anyway, I just started doing it and I just started working out there. But I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even remember what I was doing. Probably like more spinning and lifting weights with small... I don't know what I was doing. But eventually I just stopped going because, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't enjoying it, nothing. But then all of that was over and then I went into my first 9-to-5 job. So I did that for a while, but then at a certain point a coworker of mine asked if I wanted to come work out with him. And then a trainer at that gym actually got us both started. This guy taught me about like measuring my heart rate with a heart rate monitor strap and how to use these numbers when I'm working out. And back then we had a shift that started around noon, so I had all the time in the morning to start working out. What I did was 20 minutes of walking, 20 minutes on a bike, and 20 minutes on the elliptical machine, and some basic lifting. But I had a little less time later on, so I just kinda dropped all the lifting and only did like my hour of cardio. And I did drop 14 kilograms, which is about 30 pounds. But I hardly changed my food intake, so I did the famous I'll only eat salads. Yeah, that was the greatest idea I had at the time. But eventually the company I worked with filed for bankruptcy. And then because of all the stress that was added, I gained everything back like almost immediately. And since then I like went back once or twice. But I started doing the same like cardio madness I was doing beforehand. So after a couple of times I just stopped going. And then there was a huge, maybe 10-year gap of me just not working out, and my weight just fluctuated all over the place. And at that time I was only focusing on my career and just not working on like my health or working out at all. And I would discuss it every once in a while with like friends and co-workers and family, but nothing came out of it. And no one could really advise me in a way that would make sense to me eventually. And in my previous video I talked a bit about how my father's heart attack kicked everything into gear for me. And then I did a 180, would delve completely into the subject of working out and health and how food works, how the body processes food. So if you want to know more about that, you can just watch that video instead. So when all of that happened, I slowly worked my way back to the gym and I had like massive anxiety about it, but it just had to happen, so I just went anyway. So back there I just started doing what I had done like 10 years before. I wore my old heart rate monitor strap around my chest, just went back into that cardio hell I was used to. And over time I slowly started to use all the lifting machines because they seemed a little less frightening than the free weights. And they have this picture on them which shows you how the movement kind of works, but by now the internet has developed into what it is today. So I found people online that were trying to accomplish the same thing as I was, or people that had already done it, and people that are actual professionals that are trying to help people online. So I got in contact with a couple of people that were also working on their health, but I thought it was time to enter the free weight section. The gym I was going to had everything set up that all the cardio machines were in the front, and in the back was like some free weight equipment, but mostly CrossFit stuff and one bench. So when it wasn't too busy, this area was almost always completely available. So I could just figure out everything by myself without people bothering me or me feeling I was just hogging equipment. And all the actual free weight equipment was all set up in the basement. The bench presses, squat racks. So eventually I actually had to move my butt like down into that basement. But I had actually massive anxiety about going there. Because everyone down there seemed like way more dedicated with everything, way more serious about all of this. And I was just starting out and everyone seemed like so far ahead of me. I was just literally starting to take all the lifting stuff seriously. But someone I met online helped me a lot with making a basic lifting plan for me. And he gave me a wonderful piece of advice I still use today. Don't overcomplicate things and keep it simple. So with the lifting, go in there with a plan, do what you need to do and get the hell out of there as soon as possible. So one day it was kind of, okay, I'm ready now, let's move down there. And I remember almost not going. But then that person basically yelled at me just to go in there with a plan, damn it. So I did. So I arrived at the gym like normal, but first I went to the front desk asking for advice. I remember I was just fumbling all over my words, bringing up my father's heart attack and like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I here? I just want to change stuff. But luckily they saw what was going on, so they eased my anxiety a little bit. And they just explained some basic stuff to me, but they pointed me to a regular that was working out down there at the time, who had a similar journey as mine. He lost a lot of weight and he lifted. So I went up to him and I wasn't like sure how to approach this person. I was like, hi, I'm Robin and I'm just learning stuff, and I was told from the front desk that I should like ask you for some advice, and he turned out to be one of the most helpful people ever. He had no obligation to help me, but he just did. And that whole afternoon he just helped me with going through the basics of the big compound lifts and some accessory work. I had no idea how a bench press worked or how to actually execute that movement, but he just helped me through all of it. So that helped me tremendously of getting over that anxiety and keep figuring everything out. And from that moment on, I just kept grinding steadily. And my gym gave me a basic lifting plan to follow, but eventually it just kinda merged together of the plan that other guy gave me and the plan that the gym gave me. And it had some basic cardio in it, and I was still pretty heavy at the time, so cardio, while I was used to it for a little bit, I kinda just replaced that with walking, 30 minutes of walking, which I actually still do today. So overall, my whole perception of working out and health has changed a lot over the last couple of years. I started out years ago because I just kinda had to. Now I just do all these things to keep this meat suit just going on for a long period of time. And I'm really trying to be mindful of how my body feels doing certain exercises and how it will benefit me. And if you have no idea of how all of this stuff works, you have all these stereotypes in your mind of what working out is. People running like crazy, doing all this crazy cardio or lifting crazy heavy. You think you almost need to like kill or injure yourself for any of this to be helpful to you. But that's not how it works at all. It's way more nuanced than that. And I had this idea that if you want to live healthy, you have to completely change up your food intake. You need to start working out like a madman. But boy, was I wrong. And of course, everything that happened in the last couple of months in the world has changed how I work out now. But that can be a whole separate video in itself, since this is already running pretty long. So, this has been the story of my history with working out so far, and how I got to this point. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But, do you have a similar story like mine? And drop it somewhere in the comments. I don't know where the comments are nowadays, but they keep changing it. Like, oh, they moved it over here, and then they moved it somewhere else. I don't know anymore. Drop it somewhere. And thank you all for watching, and see you guys next time. And don't forget to join our Reddit community and subscribe alike.